Why are divine masculines not choosing union? So many of them are not choosing union because they do have certain blocks that they have to, and their own internal blocks that they will need to overcome shortly after meeting their divine feminine in 3D, either through the distance or in flesh, in person. The soul recognition happens and divine masculine's essence gets activated in the way that it's never been activated before by anyone else. And what usually happens is, because this is the connection they've never had before or experienced before, it's going to bring up a lot of different things in them, other than, of course, some really good and positive emotions, right? But also a lot of negativity. And actually, this is how the connection is designed. That negativity that exists in all of us, divine feminines or divine masculines, will be brought up by this connection. And this is one of the reasons these connections exist. So before divine feminine, divine masculine can actually come into harmonious union, if this is meant to be for them in this lifetime, if this is for their highest good, but even before they can come into harmonious union, there is some work that needs to be done, and it's energetic work, and a lot of it is just really spiritual growth and spiritual maturity that needs to take place. And usually that is the process of accelerated releasing of negativity that's been accumulated for many lifetimes. So this is the type of connection that's going to, alongside with all the beautiful emotions, going to bring up a lot of negativity that was stored and bottled up from many years before, or sometimes even from previous lifetimes. And I think understanding that from our divine feminine side is really helping to give quite a bit of empathy and leeway in this situation, instead of being upset at your divine masculine that they're not coming into union with you, or instead of demanding something or even answers, just understanding that many of them are just not ready to come with their divine feminine, because being in a 3D union with their divine feminine requires a certain level of emotional and spiritual maturity. And until that is achieved, they're not going to be able to choose the union. They will be avoiding union. They will be prioritizing other things, maybe that need to be prioritized, okay? There are certain wounds that are going to be brought up to the surface that will need to be healed. There are certain things they're going to become aware of about themselves that they were not aware before. And many of them, of course, are not choosing union because of the fears, because the fears are stronger still than the desire to be with their divine feminine. And especially if they still have a lot of work to do. So, for example, some of the things could get triggered in them is maybe some of the fears of abandonment. A lot of them could be afraid that if they choose their divine feminine, they might not be good enough for their divine feminine, or they might fail to be the partner they want them to be, or to meet their expectations. A lot of divine masculines feel like their divine feminine is further along on a spiritual side, and it really could be the case for many. And that's how the journey is designed. But a lot of times they will be feeling like they're not good enough, or they're feeling that if they choose this, then they might fail, and then divine feminine can eventually, they can lose their divine feminine. So a lot of them have that fear, and it might not be conscious. That might be some conscious fear. That could be preventing them from choosing union. Again, not being good enough is really a big one here. So some other fears could be just a lot of different types of insecurities that can prevent them, and that could be something that resulted from previous unsuccessful relationships, which a lot of times is the case, or it could be coming from their upbringing and their family, where some of the divine masculines are avoiding relationships altogether, and they prefer to be a lone wolf. And again, some of the divine masculines chose relationships before, they didn't go the way they wanted them to go. They got burned, and then that resulted in even more wounding that now they have to solve. And again, when they come with their divine feminine, that actually really helps the healing, because so the way we perceive our divine masculines to be is very different from what unfortunately they perceive themselves to be. And so even though we perceive them in completely different light, which could be very healing for many divine masculines, because they were not perceived in that light before, they were not shown that level of love and attention before, or unconditional love before, they can actually help them to start transforming. But remember, transformation is a process. It's something that takes time. When you're trying to grow a plant, for example, right, or a vegetable or something, it all starts from the seed. You put the seed into the ground, you have to water it, and the key here is to be patient. You don't plant the seed and expect the seed to germinate and to become a plant overnight, right? Same with healing and same with spiritual evolution of any person. It's a process. It's a process, and it's very individual process. It's a very personal process. And so this requires a huge amount of understanding and patience on divine feminine side. And a lot of divine feminines are at the level where they can show that understanding and patience and that unconditional love, which is nothing but an advantage on this journey. If you're a divine feminine who has mastered your own ability to be content with your own energy, to be content with your own company, to be okay to be on your own without having somebody by your side, or to have your divine masculine by your side, this is a huge advantage to this connection, and this is a huge advantage to potentially coming into a happy and successful union. You are miles ahead on your journey if you could be in the point where you're very patient and kind with your divine masculine, and you are okay to accept where they are. Being mad at your divine masculine for not choosing union is the last thing you want to do, because that lowers your vibration and that creates expectations and conditions, but it also creates the energetic wall between the two of you. Because the energy is shared, it is always felt on divine masculine side energetically when you have certain expectations. And certain expectations, there's nothing wrong with having expectations, especially if you're coming into a relationship. But these connections are teaching us to step a little bit further, to jump a little bit higher on the level of spiritual evolution, and to be showing that level of understanding for another human. And maybe some divine masculines actually need to prioritize themselves and give themselves all that love and attention that they needed or they haven't gotten, right? So having that level of empathy and understanding for your divine masculine is going to take you miles ahead on this journey, because if you're able to stand in your own power, prioritize your own life while your divine masculine is working on themselves, not sitting around and wait for that phone call, wait for that message, or wait for them to choose you, choose yourself in the meantime. See how you can enrich your life, improve your life, get new hobbies, align with your purpose, align with your own personal mission. Again, find what makes you tick, find your passion. If you are not passionate about anything other than your divine masculine, then it's time to find some things that you're passionate about and give your divine masculine space. If you truly want that union, okay, you have to be patient, kind, understanding, and give your divine masculine space. Then that's your time to focus on you, whether focusing on themselves or whatever else it's important to them right now. Then you can focus on you. And for many divine feminines to heal, because we have a lot of healing to do as we come into disconnections, divine masculines subconsciously are not choosing union either. So how many divine masculines can give you a really good reason, for example, for not choosing to be with you in a 3D, but many give really BS reasons from what I'm hearing. And that's understandable. That's because of this energetic imbalance that still exists. It's because you need to learn how to prioritize yourself. You need to learn how to be responsible for your own happiness. That is the lesson for many divine feminines. There are lessons that need to be learned. This is a spiritual path, okay, that can lead potentially to a happy and amazing union. But before that can happen, you will need to master those lessons, because you're not going to be happy in the union, or you're not going to be able to sustain the happy union or harmonious union if you don't master those lessons. And for you to master those lessons, you need to be in separation. You need your DM not to be choosing the union at this time. even if they give you a bullshit reason. Instead of getting mad and sad, think, okay, what am I learning from this? If my DM is not choosing this right now, that's probably because still there is some lessons that I need to learn on my end. This is teaching me something. Okay, let me look at my life, see how can I enrich my life, align with my purpose, align with myself better.